Okay, so we're going to go ahead and finish up this practice midterm number 4. We still had a couple questions from last time that I still think would be worthwhile for us to go through. And then I've posted up practice midterm 5. There's about 20 questions or so there. We'll see how we progress through that. Somebody remind me to take the attendance at the end. Because I'm only going to bring enough of the mock exams for people that are here today, because I can't be, printing off a bunch of things that I end up throwing in the garbage when people don't show up. So if you're here today, I will print one for you. If you're not here today, obviously they can't hear me right now. But if someone's not here today, I'm not going to print a practice exam for them. They'll just have to sit there and stare at the wall, I guess, because I can't be printing up exams for people that don't show up to class. So please make sure that you sign in today so that I have enough of those exams for everyone to look at, okay? We will do that on Monday. We'll take the mock exam on Monday, and then Wednesday we'll go through that exam, and then on Monday after that, the 17th, obviously, we will take the exam, okay? All right, so who wants to work this question? How about somebody who hasn't had a chance to work some so far? You want to try to work this one? Since you haven't been here, I'll give you a chance to work some of these. So you can come on up and work this. Okay, so we've been working these up on the screen here. This is chapter 3. This is process costing, equivalent units. So you want to come up and work this one, or you don't want your homework points for chapter 3? Okay. The policy in this class is that you come to class, you come prepared to work the homework. Okay. If you don't come prepared to work the homework, you don't come to class, I'm going to start, just assigning homework problems out of Connect. I'm going to, have you guys all go back and purchase the product, go into Connect, work the homework questions that are sitting there in Connect for you to work. Okay. I made a deal with you guys at the beginning of this class that you wouldn't need Connect and you wouldn't need to buy the textbook and all that, but the agreement was that you were going to be prepared for class, right? And if you come to class and you're not prepared, then that makes me feel like I have to make a bunch of points worth homework points, and you're going to have to go in there and work 52 questions and Connect and everything else, right? Is that what we need to do? Okay, so, you need to come to class prepared to work these questions. So, who wants to try this one? You want to try this one? Omar, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I'm getting some people motivated here. And I understand why you want to work it, because you're always prepared for class, and I appreciate that. Who wants to work this one? Okay, so we're done for today? Because nobody's ready to work? I appreciate the people who come prepared to class. I really do. And for you guys, I will go ahead and continue this class and go through the practice midterm. But I don't know. I'm thinking I'm going to have to revise the policies here. And I think folks should probably be ready to buy Connect, get in and do the homework in Connect. And we'll go through the homework assignments in Connect. And I'm pretty much think the homework assignments in Connect have little to do with the way the exam looks. So it'll be one of those classes. Okay. All right, you want to go ahead and try this one?
I'll try.
Okay. There you go. So we're looking for, you might want to scroll down a little bit just so you can see what we're looking for here. Sometimes helps to know what they want from us. If you just, I think if you just, oh, you're right, it's not. Let's see. The mouse is on. I can see it moving around. There it goes. Okay. Okay, good. So we're looking for the weighted average method equivalent units of production. Are they telling us, do they want materials, or I guess they're not breaking it out by?
It says units for materials.
Okay. So we're looking for this for materials. Okay.
So,
You might have to get the pen going. It doesn't look like it's quite operational yet. There you go.
so the department started with 45,000 units. Its production every month. And transferred 50,000 to the next month. I forgot my notebook today, so.
Okay, that's all right. So we started with 45,000 units. We completed and transferred 50,000. So if we finished 50,000 units, then that means that those units are done, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we should be able to go ahead and take that number, that 50,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Will we do anything with the work in progress beginning at 10,000?
The department started 45,000. Where's the 10,000?
The beginning at the top.
Oh, go back up to the top for me. So they had those 10,000 units beginning work in progress. The only reason we would have to use that is if they hadn't told me how many units they had transferred out to the next department. Then remember the way I do them, I think some of the solutions that I've put up there have done them a little bit differently, which is I like to say, well, if they tell me how many units they started for the period, and then what I do is I subtract the units that are in ending inventory because I know those aren't done yet. And then I add in the beginning work in progress because I'm saying, well, we're giving ourselves credit for having completed all of those this period. We don't worry about that 60%. And then I add in the equivalent units in ending inventory, right? And we kind of went through those steps that I wrote up on the board here at the end of class last time. But we would have to use it in a question like that. In this one, since they tell us what got transferred, we know that 50,000 units had to be done. So now we just have to do what?
It would be 50,000 times 0.8.
Good. We have to pick up the units that are sitting there in our work in progress, which is how many units in our ending work in progress? 5,000 in ending work in progress. So we're not multiplying the 50,000. It's the what?
Oh, 5,000.
It's the 5,000, right? Yeah, that's okay. 5,000 times 0.8. Good.
Equals 4,000.
4,000. 4,000? Yeah.
Yeah, 4,000.
Okay.
And then you would add the 4,000 to 50,000?
To the 50,000, right? We know those are done, right?
Yeah.
So we're just trying to get the equivalent units. And that gives us 54,000. Good. Okay. So this was sort of the easier version of the problems where they give us the units transferred out. If they give it to us, then we just add in the equivalent units in the ending inventory and we're good to go, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. Good job.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's this next one. I guess I didn't number it. All right, I guess 32. Who wants to work 32? You want to do number 32? Okay, good. Come on up. So this is asking us what is the annual sales we need to break even, right?
Yeah.
So you want to set that up? How would you set that up algebraically? So our break even equals fixed costs times good. Okay. Well, I'm not sure I would do it quite like that. Okay, fixed cost times the contribution margin, but I'm looking for this. I'll let you go ahead and finish in a second. Watch, don't trip on that. The way I like to set them up, just because for me it keeps my head wrapped around what I'm doing at any point in time, is I like to set them up to say that I take my contribution margin, and in this case, it has to be my contribution margin ratio, doesn't it? Because I don't have the contribution margin per unit. Okay, so my contribution margin ratio times my break even sales dollars is going to equal what? Is going to equal my fixed cost for me to be able to, and it's fixed cost in dollars, right? Yeah. For me to be able to calculate the break even, and then you just went and you did this part, right? Which is fine that you know that, but I just like to set it up sometimes like that. You don't have to set it up that way. I mean, as long as you mark the right answer on the Scantron, whether it be by accident or not, you're going to get credit for that particular question, but that's the way I like to set them up. So once you got to that, then you can go ahead and solve from there, I guess. From what you wrote, fixed cost divided by the contribution margin. Why don't you put contribution margin ratio under that? Because it's not the contribution margin, but it's the ratio, right? Yeah. Right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, and then you can go from there.
So I'll take the 2,500 and multiply by 12 to get it for the year.
2,500 and multiply it by what?
By 12.
Okay, you want to get the annual first? Okay, yeah, you could do that. I'd multiply by 12 at the end, but good that you picked up what? That we have to multiply it by 12 to pick up the annual here, right? Which is the 30,000 annual fixed cost. Okay, good.
So if the variable cost percentage is 60%, then wouldn't the contribution margin be 40?
Right. Since my variable cost percentage is 60%, then my contribution margin ratio must be what?
40.
Must be 40 or 0.4 or 40%.
Can I go down?
Okay. I don't know how that's helping you to scroll the screen down at all.
So I can write it right under it, or I can write it.
Well, why don't you just write it right there? You wrote 30,000 there. What do you want to do with that 30,000? You got room. Divided by 0.4 is going to equal what?
75,000.
75,000? Okay, good. Okay, only thing is you want to put 30,000 there. You're missing a zero, but other than that, you're good. Right? Okay, the 30,000 fixed cost divided by the contribution margin ratio is going to give us the break-even sales dollars, right? 40% was our variable cost was 60% of sales. That means that 40% is left for the contribution margin, right? Right? Sales price minus variable cost equals the contribution margin ratio. So if the problem gives you the variable cost percentage, then 1 minus the variable cost percentage is going to give me the contribution margin ratio, right? Question on don't trip. You still look like you're confused by this. You're good?
I'm good. It's just I usually do it this way, so this was kind of weird.
Okay.
I get it.
Okay, yeah. This is good if you just remember this. You can start with this. My only reason is setting it up this way is that I like to do it that way so that you see what the logic is, the class sees what the logic is. But I always set them up like that just to make sure that I'm tracking with what I'm doing and I'm not accidentally thinking I'm remembering something that I'm actually not, right? By trying to just memorize a formula or something. Okay? Okay, good. Let's see. Did we have any more on this one? I'm trying to see something. AICPA newly released 2014 rating medium, meaning that you just worked a CPA exam question that the CPA exam thought was of medium difficulty. Okay, so if you can handle a question like that, you could be passing the CPA exam without a problem. Okay. Okay, good. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at this one now. Total fixed costs are, that was the answer. Using the same facts, what if we wanted to achieve a target profit of $31,250? How would we handle that? Huh? Yeah, the question that we just, 32? Question 32 that we just looked at? Okay, 32. I took this off a test, and at that time it was question 10. If you went back to question 10 on this test, you'd be completely confused, right? So it's question 32. Who wants to try this one? You want to try this one? Come on up. We'll get you on the next one, Steve. There you go. There's your pen.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're trying to get a target profit now, and we are going to have to do what? We're going to have to take our fixed costs, good, which we knew from the previous problem was 30,000, good. Good. Divided by $40. $40? Not 40%, but $40, right? Because we're looking for the units, right?
Right.
Okay. So we had to pick up the contribution margin per unit, right? How did we get that? How did we get this $40 contribution margin per unit?
You took the fixed costs and you divided it by the sale price minus the variable costs.
Okay, so the problem had told me that the sales price was what? $100, right? Mm-hmm. Unit selling price, and if I know my variable cost is 60%, it's $60. Therefore, my contribution margin got to be $40, right? Okay, so we had to get the contribution margin ratio per unit, since this question asked me what? Asked me the number of units here?
Yeah.
Right?
Know how many units.
Right, so we took $100 minus $60 gave me $40, right? Okay, so it's 312504 plus the 30,000, the target profit, plus the fixed cost divided by, and it's $40. And that gave me the break even in units. Okay, and notice it was 531.25. And what did we do? We always round up in these problems, right? Because you can't sell a 0.25 of a unit, right? So you'd have to sell that 32nd unit. Okay, all right, good. Thank you. Okay, that was it for that one. So I went ahead and put about 20 more questions up on Canvas. And as I had said at the end of last class, I was going to try to do them on Monday, but that was the optimistic. But I did get them up this morning to do some additional questions, and I had determined that the class needed more practice with equivalent units, so I put a bunch of those in. There was a request for some more activity cost-based questions, so we put that up. And then there was a request for some of the more word-based theoretical type questions, and so I put a few of those up. So we got about 20 questions that we can go through. Just to point out, if you combine the questions per chapter that we had, plus the 5 practice midterms that are averaging about 20 questions per midterm, you probably have in the range of about, I would say, 120, 130 questions that you can be working through in preparation for this exam that's going to be 40 questions. So you should have sufficient material to get yourself ready for the test, and then we'll take a mock exam on Monday. I have no idea, but you can look those up. Here, we can look them up right here, actually. Let's do it right here. Assuming the internet's not going to crash on us. Let's see. If you think that you're going to go to the accounting lab and suddenly a light's going to go on here the day before the exam, it's probably not, but they are there here on this campus. Ohlone College. Let me click on that. And we go to the A to Z index, and we click on T for tutoring. Tutoring services. Accounting is number 1. Okay. This is in the same area where the math lab is, but it's a little tucked away room in the back there, but it's in that same suite, whatever, where the math lab is. This is obviously Fremont trailer, portable, whatever, 21, right next to the computer lab. And then the hours, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., so there's somebody there all day. Newark, Monday through Wednesday, 10 to 4, so there's somebody there right now. Thursday, 11 to 4, okay? And nothing on Saturdays. Friday, Saturdays, or Sundays in both situations, okay? Okay, good. But I would be cautious about thinking that somebody's just going to come in there and gaze upon you and make you understand managerial accounting. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a student that's in the lab, and I don't know. I heard them explaining something when I was in the lab in Fremont, and my instinct was to butt in and say, whoa, wait. But then I thought, no, that would destroy the tutor's confidence, and I don't want to do that, so I just let it go. So I don't know. I'd be careful, thinking that they're going to sit here and break down an equivalent unit calculation for you is somewhat being a little optimistic about the process. Okay, I think they can help more with the financial than the managerial. Is probably the case. But go try it out. You never know. You might stumble on somebody that's speaking your language. Speaking to you in terms that you can understand. Okay. All right. Good. So let's go ahead and take a look at these questions. Okay. And again, here we go. My point being that, Okay, my point being that there's probably about 100, if I counted it up, you figure we had about 15 questions per chapter or so, but let's just round up to 20 for easy numbers' sake. 20 times 5, that was 100. 5 practice midterms with about 20. I think we're approaching probably a couple hundred questions that you can be working through to get yourself ready. Okay? Okay, good. Let's go.
Is that where we can access it?
It should be. It's not up there?
I don't know,
It,
it's not in modules and it's not in file.
is it in practice midterms?
It's in files.
Hang on. Hang on, guys. We can fix whatever's missing. We can just fix it right here. Okay, so if it's not there, it will be in a minute. It might be that I forgot to put it where I wanted it to be. Where I've been posting these is under. Okay, if you go to modules, and there's a module for practice midterms. See, maybe it's kind of hard to understand how I've organized things here. You have practice midterms, and under that, I've listed all the practice midterm 1, lecture for practice midterm 1, practice midterm 2, lecture 3, lecture 4, lecture 5, and then I'll put this lecture. You'll hear these very comments underneath that one. So for each one, there's a lecture. For each chapter, we go through the slides. There's a lecture. We go through the way I did it with the slides is I put the actual practice, the quiz questions, I should say, the quiz questions associated with each chapter. I embedded them in the slides for the most part. So if you sit there and you get the slides, you should see the questions in there for the most part. If I didn't, I had a separate file. And there was a lecture going through all those questions for each one of them. So everything we've talked about here in class is posted up here, organized either by chapter, and I just put that practice midterm module in there just so you didn't have to go and try and find it down by each chapter, particularly when these are comprehensive, right? So it's trying to figure out, well, what chapter is it supposed to be under? So I just put this here. But they all should be right there, okay? Okay, great. Yeah, no, I know. I just wanted to make sure that everyone's understanding how I'm putting this stuff up here. Yeah. No, I know you got it. Just wanted to make sure everyone's seeing it. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead then. Steve, you want to do this one? Okay. Come on up. So this is equivalent units for conversion cost. Okay. And notice, guys, you keep getting this annoying, the weighted average method, and you're like, well, that's the only method we've used. Remember, there's also FIFO, but we don't deal with that in this class. That's why they keep calling out weighted average. You may need to get back on the pen, Steve, so if you hit, where is the pens? Hit review. See where it says review up on the menu bar, right next to that Nitro Pro thing, and then hit start inking. Okay, there you go, and then dip your ink, your pen in ink there, not in the purple though. Yeah, there you go, not in the purple highlighter. Okay, now you should be okay. Okay, so we're taking 65,600 that were transferred in from the previous department. That's like the unit started, right? So if it's the first department, they'll say the unit started. If it's a second department, it's the units that were transferred in from the previous department that we're starting, right? Okay. Okay, good. And then, Steve, you're taking 6,300, I think, not 1,000, of, yeah, there's that little eraser, and you just scratch it like an eraser. Yeah, there you go. Okay, and so we've got this beginning inventory of 6,300 that you're adding in, and then you're subtracting out the ending inventory saying, hey, we're not done with those yet, right? Right? Okay. And what does that give you then? Colleagues, don't forget we help along with the person who's standing up here. 67,000? 300? 67,300. That's the units that we did what? That we started this period and were able to actually complete. And we give ourselves credit for what? For the beginning inventories that was all done this period. Okay, good. Now what do you want to do?
Then I want to add the 4,600 multiplied by the 70%.
Okay, good. 4,600, and we are what? We are 70% done with those as to our, what are we dealing with? Conversion costs here?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. So 67,300 plus 4,600 times 0.7 is 70,520, which is the answer. That's fine. We can see it right there. You can just put a little arrow going next to this choice C there. It's the same number. Just you can see. Okay. All right. Great. Thanks, Steve. Well, don't trip. Don't trip. Okay. So we've got what? We've got that amount right there. Now look, this is perfectly fine the way the solution shows, the way Steve did it. I think we had somebody else who'd come up and did it this way as well. I think maybe my brain is backwards, but whatever. It just works easier for me to sit there and say, well, look, I know that I started, because they came transferring in, I started 65,600 units, right? And then the way I do it is I like to sit there and actually subtract out the ending work in process, because I say, I know I'm not done with those. Okay, so what do I get? 65,000 minus 4,600 is what? 61,000. Okay, so I'm sitting there and saying, I know that I am not done with those, and then I go ahead and I give myself credit for the beginning inventory. Beginning inventory, I know I'm giving myself credit for having finished all of those this period. What's that give me? 61, huh? 67,300, right? Which is, Steve, that's the same number you got doing it your way. I don't know. I just like to do it that way, but maybe my brain is... Huh? Well, I think my way is maybe kind of backwards, but it's just the way I've talked myself through it. 65,600 is what I started. I know I'm not done with those 4,600. I'm going to add them back on an equivalent unit basis, and then I give myself credit for doing the beginning inventory all up front. Either way will get you there in the problem where they don't tell you the units are transferred out. The one that you did, they told us that, right? And if that's the case, then we're happy, right? We don't have to even go through this hassle to figure this out. Okay. All right, good. Who wants to do... Good job, Steve. Who wants to do... number 2? Okay, you want to do number 2? Okay. She didn't even wait for me to say sure. She was out of her seat and ready to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this one now. And we want the equivalent units for our conversion cost. So we had 95,000 units that we are essentially saying we started with. And you're going to go ahead and do it the Lord method, okay, to go ahead and back off the 11,000 units that were in ending work in progress. She's got pen in one hand and the calculator in the other. If you guys aren't paying attention, you're going to blink, you're going to miss this. So what happens? So we got the 84,000, and that's so far what? The... Good. So then you go ahead and you add in the started units of 8,000. So that means that we started and completed, what is it, 92,000 units, guys? 92,000? Okay, good. Now what do you want to do? So she's going to go ahead and do the equivalent units in the ending inventory, 11,000 times what? Times 90% complete, so that gives me 99,900. It's not 90,000, I don't think. It's 9,900, right? 9900. So you just need to get rid of that zero. No, no, no. We're reducing zeros. Don't. I mean, you got a chance to work for the government if you just keep adding zeros to numbers. 11,000 times 0.9 is 9,900. Okay, good. So we're going to add that, good, to the 93,000, and that's going to give us the 101,900. Okay, good. Okay, looks like we're starting to, good, nice job. Okay, looks like we're starting to get pretty comfortable now with these equivalent unit calculations. So they're a little tricky at first, but you see that the more you repeat them, they get easier and easier, and then pretty soon your only concern is to make sure that you're not getting cocky about it and getting sloppy and making them, some sort of in a hurry type mistake. You are going to have 40 questions on your midterm, right? I'm not sure that I'm going to put 40 for the mock midterm, just because I want to give you enough time to get through everything. But that will give you a good barometer of your time, right? Your time constraints. Okay, so you want to think about that. Although we should have plenty of time. We're going to use the whole class period to take the test, so we should be okay. All right, who wants to do number 3 here? I'll tell you what, we'll go in this order. We're going to go ahead and let Omar do this one. What's your name, sir? Ralph. Then we'll get Ralph, and then we'll get Lenica. Okay? Okay, so go ahead, Omar. You can do this one. Well, this one, don't trip, please. This one's a tough one because what? You're actually going to have to do some dollar figuring in this one, right? Okay?
I didn't bring a calculator.
That's all right. Everyone's ready to help you. No, you can be his assistant, okay? Okay, so what's happening here? We first want to figure out the equivalent units here.
Yep.
Okay.
The beginning is 20,000.
Okay.
Okay. So conversion cost. And this is the conversion cost.
Okay, so that was the conversion cost in the beginning inventory. Okay, good.
An additional 65 units were started.
Okay.
And then there was and then at the end there was like 19,000 units.
In ending inventory?
With 10% complete to convert with respect to conversion costs.
Okay.
And there was another.
And we added for the period this 389,250.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, you just add these two. Should be 85,000. No, my handwriting's big.
It's all right. 85,000
Minus 19,000.
minus the 19,000 that weren't done yet, right? 85,000 minus 19,000? 66,000? Okay. So we had 66,000 using the base mnemonic here that we transferred to the next department, right? Okay. Now what do you want to do?
We add this with this times 10.1.
Okay. So we got the 66,000, and now we're going to take the ending inventory of what?
10%.
10% of 19,000?
1,900.
Okay, go ahead and write that off to the side, Omar. I know that you know it in your head, but just write off to the side there somewhere. maybe under E there, times 0.1 gives me 1900, just so that everyone can see where you got the 1900 from. Okay, there you go. That's fine. Okay, good. So that's where we got the 1900 to get the equivalent units. So what do we got? 60, even I can do that one in my head, 67,900 is my equivalent units. Okay, good.
And we have to add these two costs together?
Okay, good. We add the beginning and we add the costs added for the period because we're giving ourselves credit for having done all of that work on the beginning inventory of this period, right? Right? So if you go ahead and add those two together, 123,200 plus 389,250, you get 512,450. Okay? Okay, good. And so we have 512,450. We divide that by the equivalent units. Do we get this 7.547? Okay. Okay, so if you round it, you get this. It's a little annoying that they choose to go out to 3 when if they should either give you the whole number or round down to the cents, but that's okay. Okay, good. Good job. Well, don't trip. Okay, good. Ooh, this looks like a hard one with all those numbers. And they want us to give us that annoying note here. They want us to figure out equivalent units for conversion cost here. Equivalent units for conversion cost with this whole big long table of numbers here. Are you sorry now that you volunteered to do this one? Okay. Latika, you want to do this one? Yeah. Having a little trouble with this one? Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll do this one because you're getting intimidated by this large table of numbers, guys. And, this is something that you want to kind of think about when you're looking at questions. Sometimes the one that looks easy is the one that's a little more challenging. The one that looks hard is the easier one. Okay? So we're first trying to get equivalent units for conversion cost, aren't we? Don't forget to bring a highlighter with you on Monday because it helps with questions for high-low method, questions like that. So you should bring your pencil. You should probably bring a Scantron Monday. Why don't you bring a Scantron on Monday, and I'll go ahead and I'll run them through so you can actually see what your score is for the mock exam. Okay, so bring a Scantron. Bring a calculator, obviously. Bring a pencil, obviously. Bring a highlighter, eraser, and then you can kind of use scratch paper, whatever. But it's going to be just like taking the test, right? Okay? Okay? Okay, so let's just take a look at this one now. Sorry, my glasses broke yesterday. Now I'm down to these that are also broken. I mean, I'm clearly an accountant now, right? I got tape on my glasses. Okay? So what's happening here? We are looking at this problem, and notice that they tell us that the units that were transferred to the next department is how much? 6,800? Shouldn't I be saying thank you, God? I didn't have to do any of that fancy footwork to figure out what got transferred to the next department. It told me, didn't it? And then I just had to do what? I just had to pick up the units in ending inventory, which are 1,800. And then what were we doing it for? Conversion cost? Conversion cost? So I'm 15% done with those. So it's 1,800 times 0.15, which gives me what? 270. Okay, so I take the 6,800 plus the 270. What do I get? 70. Huh? Is that the answer? $70. Okay, so that was the easiest one up here, wasn't it? Even though we gave you all that blah, 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 blah on there at the end, it was the one that where they tell you the units that were transferred to the next department or were transferred to finished goods, then I know those are done, right? And then I just have to sit there and give myself credit for whatever was in work in progress. Okay, so don't be intimidated by a pile of numbers, guys. Sometimes those end up being the easier questions. Okay? Okay, good. Now what? Now they want the equivalent units for materials using the same information. So now I'm going to go back to my earlier volunteers and ask them to do this one. So now we got equivalent units for conversion costs. Now we want to get equivalent units for materials, right? Is that what it's asking me? Ready, Ralph? Don't worry, I'll help you. Okay? So we want the equivalent units for material, right? So what do you want to start with?
You do the 7800?
Huh?
The 7800?
Okay. Go ahead. What were you going to say? Okay, let me show you something about this table. Okay, can I show you something real quick? Don't go too far. Just come right here. Okay, and that way you can see up on the screen. It's probably easier for you. You can look here either way. Okay, but what's happening? I'm sitting here, and I know that they finished these units. Don't I? I know that they're done with those, and so I really don't have to do all that other figuring that we were doing before. But I'm going to show you how we're going to get the same answer with the numbers that we have here. Okay, and so what happens? Well, they tell us that they started 7,800, right? And they tell us that in work in progress, there's what? There's 1,800 that are still in progress at the end of the period. So I know those aren't done. So I back off the 1,800. Even I can do that one in my head. That gives me 6,000, right? And then I do what? I give myself credit for all of those ones that I finished this period, which is what? The 800? And I get what? 6,800. I get the same number, don't I? Okay, so again, and not every question will give you all this to verify that number. Some questions, like that one that we looked at, they just came and they told me that they transferred out that many units to the next department. So when they tell you how many units they transferred out to the next department, I don't have to do all that, right? If they don't tell me, then I got to go through that process. But for this one, you know that they transferred 6,800, right? Okay, so now can you get me the equivalent units for the material? Good. 1,800 times the 80% is the equivalent units for the ending inventory. So 1,800 times 0.8 gives us what, guys? 1,440. So I do what with it? Add that to the 6,800. You can just go ahead and write, right under there, plus 6,800. Gives me what? 8,240. Okay, good. Is that the answer? For whatever that next one was, number what is it? 6 now? Materials? Where'd it go?
It's asking right there. Let's go down.
Oh, down? Okay.
I think it's asking something else.
What did I do? Skip a problem?
I don't know if there's possible to find it.
Where the hell am I?
Scroll up. No, you just pass it. This one. The cost per equivalent unit. So it's
Oh, you had to keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we got the 8,240. Sorry. But now it wanted to know what? It wanted to know the cost per equivalent unit. Okay, so you have the number of equivalent units now, don't you? 8,240?
Yeah.
Can you get me the cost per equivalent unit for materials here? It's materials, right?
Yeah.
Can you give me the cost per equivalent unit for materials? Go ahead and dip your highlighter into blue. Okay. Do we have materials cost up there?
On the, this one?
Yeah, okay. There's your materials cost. That's the beginning inventory, right?
Yeah.
Materials cost. Do you see it anywhere else? Materials cost?
Beginning.
Added for the period, we got the materials cost. No.
Oh, sorry.
That's the units. We don't need to worry about the units. That's all right. You don't have to erase it. That's okay. We've got what? Blue again, please. Give me some blue. Okay.
And then the 60%?
Why are you worried about percentages when we're trying to get dollars here? Right? We want to get the cost per equivalent unit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got what? We've got this 7,700 was in the beginning inventory, right?
Yeah.
Do you see any other materials dollars there?
The materials cost add during the month.
Good, added during the period, right? So we've got total cost of materials here of those two numbers, don't we?
Yeah.
7,700 plus 101,100. So you can go to pen now.
Yeah, that's 1,000.
Go ahead and write it right there, just right in the, okay. Or you could just do it right on top of this stupid note they put here. So we got 100,100 plus the 7,700 gives me what? Huh? 108,800. Okay, good. What do you want to do with that number, Ralph? Oh, Ralphie boy, what do you want to do with that number? You guys know who that is? You've never seen that? That's this old TV show called The Honeymooners.
Divide it
By
1,240.
good. Divide it by the number of equivalent units, right? Because we're trying to get the cost per equivalent unit. That gives us what? 13.20. 388.
1388.
388. 120388.
Oh.
You know, like when someone's giving you their phone number, you just keep writing the numbers down.
Oh, it keeps going.
It's sequentially down they give them to you.
What was it? 3885.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right. I can't stand it. Okay, so good job, Ralph. Is that the answer? Okay, good. 1320? Okay, good. Again, guys, I'm not going to write them up here again, but those steps that I went through last time is basically what we were doing there, right? Which is figure out the equivalent units. If they give you the amount transferred out, you then just have to add in the equivalent units in ending inventory. That gives you the equivalent units. And then you go ahead and you do what? You gather your cost, which is the cost of the items in beginning inventory, plus the cost added for the period. Divide that. That gives me the cost per equivalent unit, right? If it's the more difficult problem where they just don't come right out and tell me what got transferred to the previous department, the way I like to do it is I say, okay, what were the units started? I subtract off the ending inventory because I know I'm not done with those yet. I know I'm going to give myself credit for having completed the beginning inventory of this period, so I add those in, and I get the number that way, right? And would we break that down to like step 1, 2, 3 or something last time? Okay, it's the same thing every single time on these. Okay. All right. Lump Corporation. Another big table of numbers. You want to do this one? Okay. Lump Corporation. Okay. Did I leave the pen up there? Okay, good. Okay, so I guess we should see what they want, what the problem's looking for here. Is that what they want? Is this that question? That's that question? Okay, so they want the equivalent unit for materials, right? Okay, so go ahead and go back up to the table. Just works like a regular mouse. A little higher, a little higher up. Okay, good. Is this the problem? Is this the right same one? Okay, so why don't you go ahead and get your highlighter? Okay, that's all right. You can do it that way. So the units transferred to the next department were what? 7,400. So you want to start with those? Okay, good. Then what do you want to do? Take a look at the ending is 700. What are we looking for? Materials. So 700 times 0.85. That gives us 595. Okay, good. 7,400 plus 595. 79.95. Okay, good. Is that the answer? Good. Good job. Okay. Okay, good. Now they want what? Cost per equivalent unit for conversion costs. So we're going to have to do what? First come up with our equivalent units for conversion costs and then divide by our conversion cost for the period, right? Right? Can someone close that door, please? I don't like to hear happy people while I'm doing accounting. Who wants to do this one? Okay. I think we're down now, excuse me, to a couple of people that haven't done anything at all. So you want to try this one? Huh? Yeah. Okay. Come on up. What are you saying, a prayer? He's sitting there still as a seagull. Let go of the computer. You ever watch the guys when they walked on the moon? Right? They were like holding on to the ship. They don't want to let go. Sometimes you just got to let go of the ship, see what happens, right? Okay. All right. I had you all set up there. Which one are we doing? This one right here? Yeah, but that's all right. But he needs to be next to the table of numbers or he can't do it. So go back up. You were right. Go back up to that table of numbers. Okay, there you go, right there. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to sit here and you're going to figure out the cost per equivalent unit for conversion costs. Is that what it was? Where are you going, cowboy? Stay right there. You got all the numbers you need right there. I just told you. It's cost per equivalent unit for conversion costs. Okay, that's all right. I'll help you. Okay. Step one, we got to get what? We've got to get our equivalent units, right? For conversion. So can you do that? How many units did we finish this? Did we transfer the next department? Stop with the mouse, dude. Let the mouse go. Okay.
7,400?
Huh?
7,400?
7,400. Good. Write that down. So take that pen, and I got you set up on red ink. Do it over here. Do it right here. Yeah. I thought I had you set up on red ink. Okay, that's all right. Here, I'll do it. I'll fix it for you. It's this one right here, right? Okay. This going to do this question. Let me do the eraser first to get rid of this stray mark that you don't need here. Okay. And then I'm just going to put it on red. Right? Okay. Now you can go ahead. And you know that you finished how many units this period because you transferred them to the next department? Okay, good. Put in that 7,400. Nice. Okay. Now we got to get equivalent units, right, for conversion. So what are you going to do now? The ending inventory. How many units are in ending inventory?
700.
700. Are they all done? Are they completely done?
85%.
That's for materials. We're looking for a conversion.
45%.
Good. So you're going to take that 700,
Times it by 0.45.
700, times what? 0.45. Good. That's the equivalent units of what we're done, which is 315. Okay, so go ahead and take that, add that. So what's the equivalent units that we're done?
700 or 7,715.
Good. Go ahead and write that. 7,715. Okay, good. But now we want the cost per equivalent unit, right? So now we're looking for dollars. So go ahead and dip your pen in that highlighter of your color of your choice. Okay, good. And so we're doing materials, right?
Yeah.
Or conversion costs, sorry. Conversion costs, right? So was there a cost in the beginning inventory that we gave ourselves credit for completing this period for our conversion costs?
Was it one of these?
Huh?
Was it one of these here?
Yeah, it's one of those. It's the one that's either materials or conversion costs. We're looking for what? Conversion costs. Good. So it's a conversion cost. Good. Got that. 2,600. That's all right. Don't worry. 2,600. We know you meant 2,600. Okay. Then how about for the costs added for the period? Have we added any costs for the period?
Yeah. The 166,000.
That's for materials, but we're looking for what?
200,000.
261,000, right? So go ahead and highlight that number. Good. Okay, and so we just need to add those two numbers together, don't we?
Yeah.
The 26 and the 261. So go ahead. Good. 26,600 plus. Oh, I see. You did 261,000 for, sorry. Plus 2,600. Good. What do you want to do with that number?
Divided by this.
Beautiful. Divide it by the equivalent units. That's right.
Can I just write it right there?
Yeah, just write all over that stupid note. 7,715, which gives us what? 34.167. Go ahead, write that down. Oh, 34.167.
34.
That's fine. 34.167.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Come on down. Is that the answer? See, that prayer you said before you came up here, they heard you.
Circle.
Okay, good. Good job. What's your name?
10.
Huh? 10?
Yeah.
Okay, good job, 10. Did I tell you the joke before? Huh? Are you tan from the sun? I'm John from the earth. Okay. I told that one before. That's one of my brother's dumb jokes. He's got a whole bunch of dumb jokes. Okay. He's got another one. Ready? What did the pig say when the farmer grabbed him by the tail? This is the end of me. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Now you know why I became an accountant. Okay. If my jokes were any good, I wouldn't be here, right? Okay. Okay. Don't worry. Someday you're going to tell a joke and I'm not going to laugh. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at what? This one? Yoder Corporation? Is this the next one? Ooh, this one for the units completed and transferred, they put a question mark there. How dare they? Who wants to do this one? You want to try this one? Okay, we'll get you on the next one, sir. You want to try it? Okay, come on up. Okay. So I guess we better first know what we're looking for here, right? It's not, I don't know, is it the question mark that they want? How many units completed and transferred? Okay, so they want us to solve for that question mark, don't they?
Yes.
Right? Okay, there you go. So what do you want to do with that? The one that Tan did, they just gave it to us, didn't they? Right? Here, they didn't give it to us. We got to figure it out. And that's actually what this question is asking for, to give us practice with this, I guess. You can do whatever you want. You can highlight it, you can write on it. I like to start with the units produced. Yeah, there you go. That's 750, right? So I'd go ahead, and you got the 750, you got it written there, you kind of got some space. Okay, you can write it, that's fine. 750,000, okay. Now what do you want to do? You want to add the work in process, the beginning inventory? Is that what you're saying to me?
Yeah.
Okay, you can do that if you want. Go ahead. Because you're saying you finished all those this period? We give ourselves credit for that? Okay, good. All right. Now what do you want to do? We're trying to get the units transferred out to the next department. Do you want to... Did we finish the units in ending inventory? Are those done?
Just one?
The ones in ending inventory right here, are those done? That 30,000 units?
Oh yeah. We just subtract that.
Okay, good.
Minus
Minus the 30,000?
5,000.
Good. That gives me now, what's 760? So that's what got transferred, right? 760,000?
Oh, 1,000.
000? Right? Okay. So this problem was making, the only thing this wanted was the units transferred, right? Okay. Now, since you're up there, maybe that's the next question, I don't know. Can you give me the equivalent units now? Is that the next question? Oh, okay. So we're going to have to get it anyway. Cost per equivalent unit for what? Materials or conversion costs? For materials? Okay. Can you give me the equivalent units for materials now? We know that we transferred to the next department 760, right? But we're going to give ourselves credit for any work we've done on the ending work in process, aren't we? Right? Okay, so we're going to take the 30,000 units. How much done are we in respect to materials? 40%. So on an equivalent unit basis, we're saying we've completed work on what? 12,000 units? On an equivalent unit basis. So go ahead and add that 12,000 in. 40% times 30,000 equals 12,000. Did I say 30,000? Huh? 12. Okay. Give me a 1 though. I'm thinking. Oh, okay. I thought that was a dollar sign. Okay. So that's 12,000, right? So what do you want to do with that 12,000? To the 760, add the 12,000. Gives me 772,000. Good. That's the equivalent units for what? Materials? Okay. Right? Okay, good. Good. That was more than the question asked, right? Okay. Okay, good. That's the process there. That's the harder version of things when they don't give me the units transferred, right? Okay. Sir, do you want to go ahead and finish the next one? Okay, so she got you the equivalent units for the materials, right? So you're going to come up with the cost per equivalent unit? Okay, so you're going to go back up into the table. Why don't you give me the highlighter, your choice of color? Highlighter, please. Can you highlight the numbers you're going to pick up there for us?
760.
You got something against the highlighter? Highlight. Dip your pen in that highlighter right there. There you go. Okay, and highlight the numbers that you're going to pick up to answer this. We're going for cost per equivalent unit. No. Well, no, yeah, you don't need that number. We're going for the cost per equivalent unit for what? For materials, which is a dollar amount.
Are we?
Okay, go up in that table a little bit more. Okay, good. Do we have costs and materials in beginning inventory?
Yeah.
It's 8,600, right?
Yeah.
So highlight that. Good. Okay. And then we added cost for materials this period, didn't we? What? Okay. So we need to add those two numbers together, don't we? So right above where it says work in process ending, write 223,000. Go back to the pen. $223,000, good. Plus what? Good. Plus that 8,600. Good. We add those two numbers together, we get what? 231,600. Okay. Okay, good. And we're going to divide that by what?
772.
Huh?
772.
772,000 that we just calculated for our equivalent units for our materials, right? Okay, good. What do we get? 0.3. I mean, yeah, okay. 0.3. I always get thrown off when people say the 0.3. Okay. Okay, good. Don't trip. Okay, good. 0.3. Now, a good practice here on your own would be to maybe do the same thing for conversion costs, right? This question was focusing on materials. You work it for conversion cost, and maybe, possibly, you're sitting there working a question that's going to actually show up on your midterm, right? Okay.
I have a question, just like a business question.
Mm-hmm.
So say the cost per equivalent unit is 30 cents. Would you, in order to get a profit, you would probably sell it for like $1 or so?
No, this is all we're doing right at this point is figuring how much cost to transfer out of work in process and to finished goods or the next department. Okay, so in other words, we are trying to gather our cost into finished goods, right? Okay, and so we've already gone through and we've put in our direct materials, we've put in our direct labor, we've put in our overhead. Those are the costs that are added. And because we're not tracking it by job, we're tracking it by department, right? And so we have to figure out, well, what cost should go from one department to the other, from the final processing department to finished goods. And we would have already determined at this point through, our historical data what our costs are, our variable costs versus our fixed cost, and then we would price it in such a way so that we cover our fixed cost, right? And then whatever our target profit is. And we could back into, in all the problems that I'm giving you in the cost volume profit analysis, we're sitting here and we're being given the sales price. Sometimes we might back into the sales price based on what we know what we need to sell it for in order to cover our variable cost, right? I mean, cover our fixed cost and then whatever our target profit is. Okay. So, yeah. So really, to be honest with you, if I had a choice, I wouldn't have taken us to Chapter 5, all we're doing in these first 4 chapters is gathering the cost. The analysis begins in chapter 5. So to me, a better way to structure our exams would have been to have gone through the gathering of all the cost and then gone into the analysis part after that. But that's not the way they set up the midterms here. But just to illustrate what we're doing here now, so we have this 0.3, what is it, 30 cents? Is our cost per equivalent unit for our conversion cost. This is materials here. Is this materials we were working on? Okay. Now, for this thing, I'm just going to worry about the materials portion because I don't want to have to calculate the cost per equivalent unit for my conversion cost as well. But we'd have to do both of them, wouldn't we? But I'm just going to pick it up and show you how we do it, what we would do in our accounting system for our materials here. So we have work in progress. I guess it's the pen. We have work in progress. Sitting here, and the amount of material cost and work in process at the beginning of the period was how much? 8,600. Okay, so it was 8,600. That was last period's ending balance in work in progress, right? So we start with the 8,600. And again, remember, I'm just focusing on materials here. So we're going to pick up the materials of $223,000 that we would have debited. What are the credits to? If I debited work in progress, I had to credit something. It would have been, in this case, you're right. I was going to sit there and go through the whole listing, but you're right. Since this is materials, it's raw materials, right? That would have been credited for the $223,000. And of course, for my conversion cost, I would have had direct labor and I would have applied my overhead, right? But we're just focusing on materials here. Okay, so we're tracking our costs through our accounting system. If I add this $223,000 cost of materials for the period, what am I getting here? 8,600 plus 223,000 is 239,600. 31,600. Okay, good. 231,600 now is my total cost and work in progress, right? Now just pretend, I don't know if they said there's another. Well, I can do it, work in process department 1, and I'm going to send it to work in process department 2. Ultimately, I would go out to finished goods. If this was my final processing department, this would be finished goods, right? But we said in this problem, we calculated that we transferred out how many items for the period? How many did we transfer out for the period? Remember going back, that was what this question was asking me to begin with, wasn't it? Yeah, where's that stupid thing now? Now I'm having trouble finding it. I just want to go back to that table. Didn't they gave me the question mark for that? Right, but we figured it out to be how many? 760,000 units was what we calculated there. Right? Right? That we had transferred out. So what are we going to do? We're going to go ahead and we're going to take those 760 units that we have transferred out, and we just calculated the cost per equivalent unit. What was it, 30 cents? Of being 30 cents. So 760,000 times 0.3 gives me what? 228,000, you say? Yeah. Okay, good. So I'm going to sit there and I'm going to debit work in process for Department 2 for 228,000, and I'm going to credit work in process for what? Department 1 for this 228,000. So this is coming out of here, isn't it? 228,000? Even? 228,000? It's coming out, right? So what's left in here now? 3. How much? 2600? 3600? 3600? It's what's left in here now, right? 3600. And I'm saying that on an equivalent unit basis, I have how many units left in ending inventory? On equivalent unit basis? On equivalent unit basis, how many units do I have left in ending inventory for materials? Guys, we've done it 97 times here. How many units do I have left in equivalent unit basis? No, I transferred 772,000. I transferred, I don't even know where 772,000 is coming from now. Did I say that I transferred 760 or 772? Oh, okay. We got a problem here then. It wasn't 760,000 that got transferred. It was what? 772 that got transferred. 772,000 got transferred to the next department, right? At a cost of how much per unit? 30 cents per unit. So that's going to give me 0.3, 231,000 what? 600. So I go ahead and, how can that be possible? 772 is the,
760, and the 12,000 was your conversion costs for ending inventory.
760,000 is the units that I transferred, right, guys? Times I wanted the cost per equivalent unit for my materials. We're working on materials times the 0.3, right? 760 times 0.3 is what? 228,000? Even? Okay. So I'm going to, just like I wrote over here, debit work in process department 2, 228,000. Credit work in process department 1, 228,000. And when I do that, I am left with how much over here? 3,600. Okay, I've got 3,600 in my ending balance now, don't I? Because I transferred out for the materials from Department 1 to Department 2, the equivalent cost per unit for that 760,000 units that I transferred, right? Okay. Now I am left with how many equivalent units in ending inventory for materials? 12,000 units, which is what? Which is the 0.4 times the 30,000 units, right? Right? The 0.4 times the 30,000 units. Mean on an equivalent unit basis, I have how many units? 12,000. What's the cost per equivalent unit? 0.3. That gives me what? 3,600? Okay. 3,600. Is that the amount that's in there? Is that the amount that's supposed to be in there? So I just do this last step to verify that I haven't dropped a cost somewhere, but I've accounted for all my costs, haven't I? I've accounted for the cost in my beginning inventory. I've accounted for the cost that I added for the period, didn't I? And all I was trying to do with this equivalent units thing was really, the big payoff was how many units did I transfer? What's the cost per equivalent unit? I used that to figure out the journal entry that I needed to make, which was to debit the work in process for Department 2, credit the work in process for Department 1. I've got those costs out of Department 1 and into Department 2, which is where I wanted them to be, right? Right? Have I accomplished my goal? Or if this was finished goods, they'd be in finished goods, and then when I sell them, I know what my cost of goods sold is, right? And I'm going to gather that data over the years, and I'm going to use that to say, this is really my cost associated with this product. We could actually raise the price a little bit and come up with a different target profit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's where the analysis part comes in, which we've already started in Chapter 5. I would have preferred that we went through this and said, now that we know how to gather all this information in our cost system, now this is how we're going to analyze the data. But that's not the way we put the test together. We started with the analysis now. Okay? But that's it. And this is just a check, isn't it? Okay? Okay? Question? Okay, why don't we go ahead, take a quick break, and we will continue on. And maybe what we'll do here, since I think we only have one more, right? We're done with them, right? Perfect. So we'll take the break here, and then we'll come back, and we'll start to work our way through some activity-based costing questions, and then we'll do a few word questions, concept questions, and we'll get out of here. Okay, guys?
There's free nachos downstairs at Buffet's.
Free nachos where?
Downstairs in the lobby.
Free nachos downstairs in the lobby. Don't cause a riot. Okay, so let's go ahead then and pick up with these activity-based costing questions. And we were going to do what, number 10 here? 11? Okay, number 11. And let me go ahead and set us back up on our pen. Okay, and you wanted to do this one? Okay, so we're looking for the cost per unit of product A here. Okay, so they're going to produce 5,000 of product A, 2,000 of product B, and we're sitting here and we have these three activities, and we have the amount of cost for the activity and the relative amount of activity for each one of the products. And so we're going to go ahead and allocate the cost of these three activities. So when we're doing what? For activity 1, it's the 24,000. Product A is taking up what? 200 out of the total 1,000. Okay, good. So we would allocate of that 24,000 what? 4,800 to for product A for activity 1, right? Activity 2, 36,900 times, and it's using up what? 750 of the total of 900. Okay, and so that's being allocated at 30,750. Okay, good. And for activity 3, I'm going to write that up there. We've got the 63,000, and they're using up 1,000 out of the total 800 for whatever the nature of this activity is, and so that's 35,000. Okay, good. And so we take the 35,000 plus the 4,800 plus the 30,750. That gives us a total of, okay, he already figured that out for you, 70,550. Okay, and we're going to divide that by what? By the 5,000 units, and now we've got the what? The cost per unit here, just considering our overhead that's being allocated. There could be direct materials or other things in here, but just looking at the overhead, right? Okay, good, nice job. Is there another way to do this? Same question, okay. So what was your name again, sir? Dow. Sorry. I'll get it right at the end of this semester when you're not going to take any more classes from me, friends. Okay? I'm not going to take more classes from you. Dude, don't remember my name, right? But what happens here, what they did was they came up with a cost per unit of activity, didn't they? Okay, so they took the 24,000, divided it by the what? The total activity, which for this activity 1 was the 1,000 up there, right? For activity 2, they took the 36,900, divided it by the total activity over here to get with the cost per unit of activity right here, right? And then for the last one, they took the 63,000, divided that by the total activity, came up with the cost per activity, and then they went ahead and they simply multiplied it by the number of the amount of activity that was used for each activity by product A, right? And they went through and they did that, and they got the same answer for the total, and then you would just divide that by the total number of units, right? So you could do it both ways. Both got us the same answer, didn't it? Okay. Okay, good. Question on that? On was the one who had a question on that before, is why is it being done different ways? And now he's not here to benefit from the fact that his colleague did it a different way than the book. He might have reinforced his understanding of the different ways you could do it. Okay. Anyway. How about this one? Anyone over here want to try this one? Get some practice with these? You don't want to try one? Huh? Okay, well, come on up and do it. Oh, I know you already did, but I think because you had asked for some more of these, so maybe you want to get a little practice with them? Okay, come on up. Thanks. Everybody sign in? Then just hand it back. Okay, so what do we got? Number 12 here? Is that the one we're doing? You can do any one you want. What do you want to do? They want the activity rate per order, so they're not going all the way like the one that Dowd did where you had to sit there and you had to come up with, the whole cost of a particular product. They're just asking us at the step of coming up with an amount per order, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. You want me to help you? I'll help you.
I'll do it. No, I got it.
Okay.
I want to do it myself.
Okay. So we want a cost per order, right?
Cost per order would be 3,400, and that's divided by 1,000.
Good. 1,000 orders, the 800 plus the 200, right? 30, 40, and that was it for that question, right?
Yeah.
That's too easy. We're going to let you do another one. Okay, so go ahead and go scroll down so you can see what the question was. Oh, here, I'll do it. So you just scroll down, and that's going to be 30, 40, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Got that one. Everybody sign in? Okay. So we got 30, 40, okay, and they want to know what is the overhead cost assigned to product U1?
Okay.
Okay. And so we've got, I'm going to go back up to the table for you so you just have all the information right there in front of you. Okay, so we're trying to get the cost for product U1. U1! No, sorry. Okay. So we got product U1 here that we're doing. And we already know the cost per order, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we just want to come up with the cost for machining because they tell us in this problem that what? Other is not going to be assigned to product cost, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay, good.
So, what's the question again?
We want to come up with the total cost for U1. We've got the cost
So
per
you got-
order. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so you got 0, 0, 2. Did I do that right? 20,000?
20,000 is the math on that, guys? Okay, so we got a total of 20,000.
So you have 20800 divided by the 20.
Okay, good. We've got the machining cost divided by the number of machine hours. That gives us what? 1.04. That's our cost per machining hour, right? Okay, good. So now we're just down to sitting here and figuring out
Okay.
what the cost is for U1.
So, okay, times 13,400.
13,400 is the amount of machining hours used by U1. Gives us what?
Times 104.
Times 104. Guys? 1.04 times 13,400? 13,936.
And we've
Good.
got 67% of that.
67% of that is coming from. I'm not following you. 67% of that.
20,000, 13 for the U1 units are 13,400, and that's divided by the 200, which gives you 26.7% of your. I think I've confused myself. Hold on a second.
Okay, because
Okay,
we came up with the.
I took 20,000, I divided the machine hours.
We have 20,800, right? And we divided that by the total of 20,000 machine hours.
Okay.
That gave you a rate per machine hour, right? Of 1.04.
Right.
And now we're simply trying to allocate the that rate per the amount of machine hours used by U1. U1
Okay.
used 13,400.
Yeah, 13936, 200, and then you got 20, 3040, right, 200. So add 2 zeros to that.
Okay, you
No,
lost me.
I've cut, hold on
Okay.
a second.
Okay.
Let me erase. Where's the eraser? Why is that not erasing?
There it goes. There it goes. Takes a second. Sometimes this thing is a little stubborn.
Hold on
There
a
it
second.
goes.
Hold on a second. Okay, I have my total hours, and I divided that into the 2080 and got 104.
Right. We got. You want to dip it back in the pen. You already got the 104.
So 104 times.
Okay, that's all right. I'll get it for you.
Getting
What number are we on now?
12.
Guys, what number?
13.
We're on 13?
13, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, but we're up here. I see. We're up here at the table though, so you can see
Right,
the
right,
numbers.
Okay.
Okay. There we go.
Okay. Let me start over. Okay. So I have 30, 40, 30, 40, 200. 0.0806.
Okay, let me help you here. Okay,
Okay.
so we've got the machine hours, right?
And that's
And
104.
okay, let me help you. So we're gonna take because we want to make sure we get a good record of this. So okay, well, you're not gonna let me help you.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you got the 104, and you've kind of erased where it came from now, right? But it was the machine hours. You're saying was the rate per machine hour?
2080.
Okay, go ahead. Just you can finish writing what you want to, and then I'll show you the way I would have done it. Okay, so it's the okay. I'm still not seeing it. I think it would have been 20,800 would have been in the numerator, and the 20,000 would have been in the denominator, right? To get 1.04.
Yeah, I have it written backwards.
Okay, so we got the 1.04. So we go ahead and fix that. Put the 20,800 in the numerator. Okay, and in the denominator we would have had the 20,000. 20,000, good. Okay, that's fine. That's a zero. 20,000, and that's giving us the 1.04 times machine hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. And product U1 used up 13,400 of the machine hours, so that gives us what, guys? 13,936. Good. And now we just need to do the same thing for the orders, right? Orders was 3040, and we got that by taking the total 30,400 and dividing that by the 1,000 orders, which were 800 plus 200. And then since they used up 200 of that, what's that number? Is that okay, divided by the 1,000 gives us the 3040. Okay, and you go ahead and just write 30,400. Just your 3 disappeared. You just write the 3 in there inside of your. You can just write the 3 inside of your division brackets there. Okay, good. And so that gave me the 3040. Then 3040 times 200. Is that supposed to be? Huh? 6,080. 6,080. Okay. And so you take the 6,080 plus the 13,936 gives us what? 20,016. Is that what they were looking for? I forgot. We were looking for the cost of U1, right? Okay. Okay, good. Perfect. Okay. Okay, and you can see that's sort of what they did there, where they showed it the rate per hour. Okay, good. Good. Okay. How about this one? You want to do this one? Okay. Come on up. What's your name again, sir? Solomon. Okay. So we got this Glassy Corporation. And oh, do we know what we're looking for here? That's all right. It's not. What are we looking for? It usually helps in these questions. Here, right here. I use the mouse because it's hard to scroll otherwise, because it wants to write. So we're looking for activity rate for the processing activity pool. So they're just asking that first kind of easy step. I'll have you do the next one too. Processing cost is 20,000. Good. Good. The total number of machine hours is 10,000. Nice.
And it's gonna give you 2.
$2. Okay, that's too easy for you, right? We're gonna give you more fun. Okay, but right now we're dealing with $2 per machine hour. So how about the overhead cost assigned to product T3? Okay, so I'm going to take you back up to the table, right, so you can see the numbers for T3. Good, that's the one we're working with.
So what I would do, let's go with the processing first.
Okay, going to do the processing first. So we got.
We're gonna get the 20,000.
Okay, I'm going to suggest you don't write the. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Go on with your bad self. Don't listen to me.
The 10,000.
Okay.
It's gonna give us a rate of
$2 per unit. Okay, good. If you were good the first time, you're even better the second time, right? Because it's the same thing that we had. Okay, so you got the $2. Now how about batches?
overhead costs. This supervising. So 33,500. Divide that by the 1,000.
1,000 batches. Good.
I don't have a calculator because
Oh, they're
what is it?
33.5. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, good. So that's per batch or supervising, whatever, right? Okay, good. So now what about T3?
We're gonna have to multiply the $2 by the 9,700.
Yep.
What do you get with that?
Equals 19,400. Nice. Okay.
He's the man, by the way. He's been doing that all.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know these Raider fans. Got to keep your eye on them, though. Okay. Then we got what? We got
8.50, and we were gonna multiply that by the number of batches for that one. So the 200.
gives us 6,700. Okay. Good. So we got the 6,700 plus the 19,400 gives us 26,100. 26,100. Is that the right answer?
Let's see.
Let's scroll down. Drum roll, please. Please be the right answer. Please be the right answer. There it is. Okay, good. All right, good job. Okay. We having fun yet? Who hasn't had a chance to work a problem yet? Why don't you do this one? Huh? I was waiting for him. I was saying, where's on? He's the one that asked me a question the other day. Dared to ask me a question. Okay. So, let's see. What are we looking for here? I mean, this pattern, if you're getting bored, it's because it's the same. Well, maybe you were bored when you walked in, but it's the same thing over and over again, right? So we're going to come up with, why don't we just skip that first one? 16. I was going to make you do 17 anyway, and you have to do 16 to do 17, so what's the difference, right? Okay, so go ahead and do 17 cost for KO. Product KO. I'm going to put you back up on the table. Okay? So oh, look out, guys. He's rolling up his sleeves. We're in trouble. Okay. He's all okay. So we got the 10,900, and we're going to divide that by what? That's our machining cost. Good. Divide that by the 10,000. That gives me a cost per machine hour of 1.09, says the computer on the right. Okay. All right, good. 1.09. Okay, good. All right. And then what?
Auto filling.
You want to do it for the fillings now? Order filling? Okay. So that's 10,500, I guess. Divided by the 1,000, that gives us 1050. 10.50. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so we got a cost per order, we got a cost per machining, right?
So for the KO,
So for product KO, we're going to take that 1,500 for the machine hours, great, times the 1.09 equals, I guess I could have my calculator out. I'm just sitting here doing nothing but announcing. 1635. 1635. Okay, good. And then on
order,
we have what?
order filling,
The order filling, which is 600 times what?
1.5.
Times $1.50, which is what? 1050. Didn't we have that number already? Doesn't seem like it should be 1050. Is it? Okay. Yeah, okay. It's 1050?
No, it's times 1050, not times 1.5.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. There you go. The zero, what happened? The zero disappeared on him? Oh, okay. So it's 1050?
yep.
Okay, so 600 times 1050 is what?
6,300.
6,300. Erase that
Oh,
1050 you wrote there and put 6,300. Yeah, right there. Right there. 600 times 1050 is 6,300, they're saying to you.
oh.
6,300. Right? That gives me a total of 79.35, you say? Okay, is that the right answer? Go ahead. Thank God. Okay, hang on a minute. You're my star student today. Okay? Because now you're going to do the same problem a different way. Go ahead and dip your pen in blue, and Dow's going to help you. Okay? So, what are my machining hours? I mean, costs. My machining cost.
Oh, 1090.
Okay, go ahead and write 10,000. No, right over here where you got some space. You don't have to squeeze it there. Put it right here. 10,900. See how neat he is? He erased his mistakes. 10,900. Okay, good. And then can you figure out how much to give to KO by without using the rate per hour? Yeah, you. How about 1,500? Put times. Put times next to 10,900 times 1,500. Don't pause my recording. 1,500. I'm just messing with you. 1,500 divided by what? 1,500 divided by what? Divided by the 10,000, right? Yeah, 10,000 is the total machining hours, right? Oh, 1,500 out of the 10,000, right? Okay, what's that come to? She comes to 1635, doesn't it? Same number? 1635. Okay, good. And let's do it for the orders. So orders was how much was for the orders?
600. Oh no, 500.
10,500. So write that down. 10,500.
What can I write it?
You write it right in this right over here. You got space. Look at all that space you have. Put it right there. Okay. 10,500, and then multiply that by what?
600.
Good. 600 divided by what?
1,000.
Okay, but don't go crazy with that line. It's not the whole thing.
Oh.
It's just the. Okay. Right, just that part. Good. Okay. Okay, so what's that come to? What's that come to? 6,300, I hope. Okay, and then you add those two together, you get that same answer, right? You don't have to rewrite that, but you get the same answer, right? Okay, now the reason I'm asking you to do this both ways is because you asked me the question, right? You said, how come in one problem they did it this way, the other one they did it that way? My answer was, I don't know, because some maniac decided to do it one way versus the other. Okay, so very good. Don't trip, please. So don't get confused when you look at those problems now when you're prepping for your mock exam on Monday. Don't get confused because you see two different things. Both ways are two paths to the same outcome, right? Okay. Are you guys getting bored with this? Yeah. Good. You wanted to be a business major. Okay. Okay. If you wanted something interesting, you should have studied art. So why don't we look at some of the word questions? Let's do that, because this starts to become the same thing over and over again, right? Okay, so let's look at some of these concept questions, unless somebody's got one that you're just burning to do. Okay. All right, good. Guys, we stay off of our cell phones during this class. When I see you pleasurably looking at your cell phone, I know you're not calculating, you're not sitting there going, oh boy, I just got the cost per unit. If I see this, I know that's not managerial accounting, okay? All right, so, huh? Keep going? Oh, here they go, okay. Okay, here we go. Let me get myself off of this. I think this weird thing that I'm on is the problem. It's going to keep bothering me. Okay. Okay, so which of the following characteristics applies to process costing but not job order costing? I mean, the whole point of the equivalent units is so that we can track our costs from department to department like we did up here, right? Right? Okay, we don't use equivalent units for job order. We just track the cost by job, and the rest of these are nonsense. Okay, item A key idea in process costing that refers to the number of units that would have been started and completed given the costs incurred. Isn't that what we keep coming up with? The number of costs, what started and completed, right? And we use that for our equivalent units of production, right? Okay, if you're waiting for a deeper meaning, I don't think that one's coming. Okay, the combined costs of direct labor and factory overhead are called what? Conversion costs. What do we call direct labor and direct materials? Huh? Our manufacturing costs are all three of those: our direct materials, our direct labor, and our manufacturing overhead. Our direct labor and our overhead are called conversion costs. My question is, what do we call our direct materials and our direct labor? Huh? Premium, you say? Close. Prime costs. Prime cost, right? Those are prime cost. And, some people will say, huh? Well, why? Why? I have no idea. That's what some fool decided to call them. I kind of get conversion cost because what? We have materials, and then the materials don't dance themselves into a sandwich. We have to do what? Apply overhead and labor to convert them, the raw materials, into a sandwich, right? I guess I kind of get why direct materials and direct labor are prime, because I don't know. I don't know why they call them prime. It's kind of stupid. But that's the definition. Huh? Direct labor? Direct labor is a conversion cost, as is manufacturing overhead. Those are both conversion costs. Direct labor, though, also has another shirt that it wears that says it's playing on both teams. It's conversion, and it's also what? It's also prime. And I'm just saying prime cost, I don't know. Why do they even have to call it prime cost? Why can't they just say direct materials, and then we have our conversion costs, which are direct labor? Why did they have to put it in? I have no idea.
Did they call it direct cost?
Huh? Those are direct costs. Direct labor and materials are both direct costs, but then why don't they just call it direct cost? Or just say you have direct material and then you have your conversion cost. Why do they have to come up with this prime cost thing? I have no idea. When I go this summer, I'm going to go to the Managerial Accounting Consortium, and I'm going to talk to them about this. I'm just kidding. I don't belong to no managerial accounting. The day you belong to a managerial consortium is the day I need you to check your priorities, okay? You should think about maybe joining another club. Join the, what's the student group? You want to say something about the group? Okay. Okay, well, we're not in the middle of completely another conversation. In other words, you're saying, John, I'm not random like you are. Okay, so a method of assigning overhead costs to a product using a single overhead rate is what? Is a plant-wide overhead rate. Remember, we have what? We have plant-wide, we have departmental, and then we have our activity-based costing, where we assign our cost by activity, right? Remember, we had that mixing department and the baking department or something like that when we looked at some of those, where we did them by department, we do them by activity. And then, of course, we could have the plant-wide. There's a lot of questions like this on your exam, guys, okay? And so a job order costing system, and I notice that the theme is when they keep talking about being custom, something being custom means it's uniquely made, isn't it? So you tell the guy, oh, no, I want you to put blue doors on my red Ferrari, whatever, right? Okay, well, that's being custom made, isn't it? Okay, so remember we had the red Ferrari as the example of our job order costing. And if we make it custom, that's clearly job order costing. These other things, cement, paint, shoes and apparel, pencils and erasers, sometimes people will say, well, some shoes are, blue and some are green. Yeah, but each batch of shoe is going to be done in a uniform manner, right? Okay, good. In a homogeneous manner. Type of production that yields customized products. See, again, that theme is what? Custom. You see the word custom? That's going to be the job order costing one, right? Okay, these other, again, well, just-in-time production is nonsense. Job lot production, processing. Okay, but obviously it's custom, it's job order. A document in a job order costing system that is used to record the cost of producing a job is that job cost sheet. Remember when we went through and we showed that little job cost sheet and we sat there and we did what? We tracked our, what do we report on that thing? What do we report on this thing? Huh? We're going to put our direct labor. What else? Direct materials and our manufacturing overhead, which are our manufacturing cost, aren't they? They're also called our product cost. Okay, so we put that on a job cost sheet. Right? I wonder why I'm starring that one. Okay, come over. That's it. Aw. Okay, so you've got all of these questions now, guys. You've got, what, 5 practice midterms? Okay, and you've got the chapter slides that also have practice midterm questions embedded in them, and then you've got a separate file for the practice midterms too, and they're not always consistent. Sometimes I thought of a question while I was putting the slides together that I didn't add to the practice midterm, so double check to make sure you're getting a chance to go through all of these. And what I would do is I would pretend like your test is on Monday. The real test is on Monday, and I would go through and study for that. So then you've got most of your studying done, and you just sit there and keep yourself in shape as you head into the Monday after that for the actual midterm, right? Okay, and if you do that, you're going to be happy with the outcome on your test. I would say yes. I mean, I'm not going to force you to waste money on a Scantron if you don't want to, but I think if you bring it, then I can take them. I'll run them through the Scantron, and I'll give them back to you on Wednesday, and you can sort of see how you did, see what areas you weren't as strong on, and then continue to tune up on that as we head into the game day, right? Yes, sir. Hang on, guys.
Scantron we use for the mock exam. I mean, can't we still use it for the midterm if we just flip the page?
Theoretically, you could, but I don't want to get into all that. Okay? I don't know that I'm not going to be asked to turn in the Scantrons to somebody at some point to do some analysis with them, and I don't want to get into a big, long explanation about why there's markings on the other side. If you don't want to spend $2, whatever it is, for a Scantron, don't bring one. Huh? Oh, that's okay. You don't have to.
Like 100 of them from Amazon.
Why?
Because I couldn't, I didn't want to go up to the main college to buy them.
Okay. Well, you can sell them. You can sell them at a discount, 50 cents a pop. Okay, but you don't have to do that, really. Okay, guys, you bring a damn Scantron. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. And we'll go through, and we'll be okay to do it. All right. Okay, guys, I will see you on Monday. Study hard for this mock exam, and I think it's going to pay you dividends in the long run. Okay.